to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Man, what's up, boneheads? Doggone people out there watching. Hey, we ran, I guess a little bit later tonight, because how you say that we ride motorcycles and stuff. We was out there pounding the ground, doing biker shit. But hey, thank y'all very much for joining us here on the Big Boneyard tonight. As we always say, thank you for taking your time out to join us. But again, we real bikers, so sometimes on a Sunday we out there twisting the throttles and whatnot. You got your boy, I'm Big Bone 1%er. We got Archbishop 1%er, and we are welcoming y'all to the Big Boneyard. Now, before we get lost too much, we want y'all to know, of course, looks like Uncle Shaggy is going to be jumping in and joining us a little bit later on, and we don't know who else, but yeah, we got stuff to talk about. We got to chop it up about a little something. Foxy Johnson, we see you in the house. Anyway, let me shut up for a minute, because I saw you part of the weekend, not the whole weekend. You know, did a little something today. How was your weekend, brother?
Nah, it was all right for the most part. You know what I mean? We got to run around a little bit, you know, hang around your bros and kick it and have a good time. And between that and work, that was about it.
Yeah. Word on the street is that you was riding a motorcycle. It had two wheels on it. That's what folks are saying.
Yeah, you'd be correct.
Shaggy, hey, so.
And I just did like 90. I literally did 95 from there to here to be here on time.
Hey, look. Fact, I did the same, but my happy ass, I got they had some kind of a thing going on with the cops. First, I thought they were stopping folks, but they had the whole damn interstate shut down. They had a what do you call that? A fire truck cutting across like 3-4 lanes, and then the cop cars and the other ones. And I'm like, after about 20 minutes or so, I creeped up, asked the cop, "Hey, I'm on a bike. Can I just go?" There's a lady cop. She said, sure, go ahead. Just scoot around everybody. Scooted around everybody, got to the front. And then this one cop started looking at me like I had 3 friggin' heads. And I said, hey, whoa. He started coming toward me. I said, hey, the cop back there, the officer told me to just get out of the way with the motor. That's not what she said. To get out of the way with this motorcycle. I'm taking up space. She said, just to go ahead around folks. So he says, who told you that? I said, the lady back there, the officer back there. He goes, get out of here. I said, yes, sir. Right away, sir. That was like 25 minutes into the damn wait, you know? So, right. Yeah, so it had us running. Uncle Shaggy, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Better now. You done came and graced us with your presence and whatnot. Man, how was your week, man?
It's been busy. It's been a pretty shitty week. For those that seen what's on my Facebook thread, I won't get on it on here. It doesn't need to be on here. But yeah, it's been one of those weeks.
Man, I hear you, brother. Well, you made it on, as my mother said, you're still in the land of the living, so you're on the correct side of things. So it's glad to see you. We see Foxy Johnson, Heather, doggone M.R. Ming, CCW, Vernon Powell, a.k.a. Bolo, Beaker Dab. Man, it's a lot of folks up in here, man. Thank y'all for joining us, man. But I tell you, so as we always say, we like to point this out, and we're reminded of it every now and then. And the thing is, we're going to talk about all kinds of different stuff as per freaking usual. The big deal is that this is what we got to say. Like me, Archbishop Shaggy, we all have our own opinions, and those opinions belong to us. They do not represent our respective organizations, our clubs, or any of that stuff. This is us saying that not nobody else. So, that's it. If you want to get mad at me. Because if I say something bad about your sister or whatever, that's me saying it, nobody else, But anyway, so that's that. let me ask to kind of get us popping a little something. Shaggy, word on the street is that from time to time you might get on your motorcycle and ride to a whole other different state. How true is that?
Oh man, that's a rumor. I mean, I might bicycle it to another state, but if
Right.
I'm riding, I'm riding a couple states. Um,
Right on.
and yeah, it just depends, you know. I like the long rides, man, especially when you're with a big pack of brothers and stuff like that. You go across the country, the amount of fun that is involved, the amount of brotherhood, you know, just shenanigans that gets pulled.
Yeah.
Uh, the it's a never ending, just great time.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and the other thing too is you build trust riding handlebar to handlebar, 100 mile an hour, front tire to
Mm-hmm.
back tire, inches from each other. You know,
Yep.
I just wish people in this day and age could pick a fucking radio station on their damn baggers. You know, I grew up. We rode. You know, the hardtails, the loud pipes. That was always a big thing. You wore earplugs because everybody was making you deaf how loud their motorcycles are. But now it's nobody can pick a radio station. You got one guy got country music, one got rap, one got metal, one got bop playing back there. Another guy's listening to talk show shit. You know, pick a station, man.
Look,
God damn.
I'm gonna tell you a secret right now. Don't tell nobody, but the way it works on the black side, uh every biker with a bagger, if he's over 50 years old, he's listening to either Zap or Frankie Beverly and Maze, and he's playing it real loud. That's it. That's the only two things he's allowed to play on the radio because for some reason that's all they play. Now, younger than that, it might be some of anything, anything.
Mhm.
AB, AB, you been known to break some state lines quite often. What do you think about that? Like, what's your usual takeaway from breaking state lines?
You know, usually like before the ride, I got to get myself prepared for that ride.
Yep.
Not just, not, I mean, of course, you got to go through your bike and make sure everything's like it's supposed to be. But I got to get, I got to get my mental and my physical together too. Because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything got to run consistent. So,
Awesome.
so I know, you know what I mean? Usually I know ahead of time what I'm going to do. So, you know, up until that day, you know what I mean? I'm basically just getting myself together, whether it's, making sure like usually like a couple days before time I usually like drink like a gallon of water a day, you know what I mean, just to make sure I stay hydrated because I know I'm gonna be out there. Sometimes I mean it may be hot, you got to, you know what I mean, you got
Yep.
your full on, you got your mic on, you're sitting there talking to everybody or whatever, but you know what I mean, that sucker gets hot.
Oh yeah,
And
and then it also depending on when you're doing it and where you're doing it.
right.
I'll jump in there just a little bit, and we're gonna get right back to it. But that's really what we're talking about tonight. Oh, by the way, Heather said "Computer Love." I stand corrected because she's right. "Computer Love" is definitely one of those 50-year-old black guy songs that
But
they
that
got.
is my zap. That is
Yeah,
my zap.
that's Zap, and that is Zap. Yeah, that's Zap. Yes.
Well, put like no, take it back. It was by Roger Chapman, who actually formed Zap, him and
Right.
his brother.
See, you're of a certain age. That's why you could correct. That's why you could do the correction like that. Anyway, so what we was talking about is this. So when you got that motorcycle, you said that you were going to ride, but going to an entire other state. Well, hold on a minute. There's really more to breaking state lines on a bike than just putting gas in the tank. So the idea is that you have to get your body, your mind, and your machine ready to do it. And that's what we're going to figure out a little. We're going to figure out a little something like that tonight. And I guess this is almost one of those things where we could do a top 10 almost. But I guess we could break down, you know, there's your body, there's your mind, there's your bike, body wise. And AB, you actually just said one thing I feel like a lot of people miss. Me and Foxy was talking a few days ago, and she pointed out something. She goes, "Yeah, man, when you get ready to do them long rides, you know, folks want to drink soda and maybe sometimes some Gatorade and whatnot like that." She's like, "What about breaking out some Pedialyte and some pH balanced water?" And I'm like, "Man, that's great." But she was talking about from a health thing. She's like, you don't do that 4 hours into your ride going through Texas in July. You start that 3 days before you even get on the bike. Because if you know you're going to be on the road for a few days, you got to get right. Like, what
You
other
guys
kind
are
of,
so fucking organized, man. Really?
yeah,
4 days before?
yeah. Well,
Not once.
for some folks,
Get on and go. Suffer the
yeah.
way there, suffer the way back.
What kind of stuff do you
Usually
do?
the way
Like,
back's worse.
what kind of aches and pains do you get from not hydrating though? Or do you?
I have found if you drink smart water, that smart water with the electrolytes in it,
Yeah, yeah,
one, it's got a flip top thing on it, so you can use one hand to do it. Two, I went all the way across this country just drinking that smart water. I get a cold one or two cold ones, and I put them in
yeah.
between my windshield and my handlebars, and they'd sit there through the 200 miles or go before the next gas stop, and never got dehydrated, never had the pains. It even helps with hangovers, because we all know how it is, man. We hurry up to get to the run site, sit there and party all weekend, and we stop partying 5 minutes before it kick stands up to go back home.
I'll tell you the funniest thing I saw. We was going somewhere one time, and this one bro had his saddlebags. He had a tour pack on the back, but he had his saddlebag set up ice and beer. That was it. And while we riding, he reached back, grabbed one, pop it. Every time we stop, boom, he hit a gas station, refill that thing. Just, I'm like, well, that's one way to do it. But I can't play around with drinking no beer. If I'm gonna be out there on the road like that for like, state to state type stuff. No, I'm drinking it for me anyway. It's water. I do the Gatorade. Periodically, I'll do the Pedialyte. But like I said, what Foxy said was start a few days beforehand. I never really did that, but I'm not gonna knock it. I mean, that might be something to it. What other kind of stuff do y'all do?
Yeah, I know. I always did. I always drunk a lot of water a couple of days ahead of time, just to get that. Just keep from getting dehydrated.
Yeah.
I drink a gallon of water, and then I started taking like B12 pills, stuff like that.
Okay.
Stuff that gonna give me that energy, because I know doing that ride, I know I'm gonna get tired.
Yeah.
I know. I sweated the drop of a hat, so I had to make sure that I was fully hydrated. So that was just some of the stuff that I did, because I already knew ahead of time what was going to happen. Plus, I keep that ibuprofen in the back
Oh
ready,
yeah.
because like my shoulder blades, my back, I know
Yeah.
that's going to hurt, and it's just automatic. I know
That
that's going
goes
to happen.
that goes with the gray hair, I think. That's what
Oh,
that is.
naturally.
Mhm.
If you done rode for a period of time, then when you riding at a distance, the stuff that happened along the way. You know about the aches and the pain. You know your back gonna hurt. You know
Yep.
your ass gonna hurt from sitting in that seat for a long period of time. You know all that. So you
Right.
try to compensate for that ahead of time before you go, because you know it's gonna happen if you don't.
Facts. And I know one thing I do, man, here I go with Fox again. But she said that because I didn't mention it, but she said it before I said it. She goes, "Oh, all them energy drinks and like that. What I'll do is I'll get them what do you call them? Red Bulls, but that's not for hydration. That's the, after if I start getting tired or just worn out, I'm gonna start hitting them Red Bulls like damn, like nothing to it. I'll go through 2 or 3 of those uh, from depending on which state we're going through. It's not uncommon in 500 miles. I might hit 3, 4 of them, like, which is not that long, but by the time I get there, I'm all like this, because I got all that damn go-go juice in me. But by the way, if y'all have done some state to state riding and you got an opinion about that, go ahead and give us a call. We want to hear what you got to say about it. If any tips, any ideas, stuff that works for you or stuff that has not worked, the phone number is 310-870-8994. Again, that is 310-870-8994. If y'all want to give us a call and let us know about it, or of course, just hit on the line right here. If you're watching on one of the other platforms, like on the COC's page, or one of the Facebook groups, or any of that stuff, then same difference. The phone number is 310-870-8994, because we can't actually see all of y'all stuff. And
That didn't take long.
I done tricked somebody into calling. Damn it. Stand by 1 second.
Who knows? Time's up.
Hey, hello, and thank you for calling the Big Bone Yard. Who we got on the line?
Hello, late. Hello, guys. This is Cinnamon. How are you?
Cinnamon. Hey, what's going on, woman? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, really good. And thank you for calling the Big Bone Yard. You got Big Bone 1%er, Archbishop 1%er, and Uncle Shaggy doggone 1%er on the show tonight. Tell us some stuff. You ride motorcycles, Cinnamon?
I do. I'm in a motorcycle club.
Okay.
I've been in the same club about 15 years now. And I know for me, when I do long rides, I make sure that I use this stuff called Liquid IV. I think it's much better than Gatorade. It restores the electrolytes. It doesn't have all the salt in it that Gatorade does.
Mm.
So I like to do
Don't
that.
have all the sugar either.
Correct. I also freeze fruit, especially going across the bottom of Texas in July and August. That really helps, because it's going to do your electrolytes. It's going to give you the water, and it's going to kind of keep you from not, getting hungry, because I know a lot of times we'll stop and eat, and then we're tired automatically because we've eaten too much. So fruit mostly is water itself, so that's something else that I've done. I know one thing that I've noticed or that I've learned from experience is I don't really like to ride to try to get to that next stop. But I know last year when I did the Four Corners, what I tried to not do was ride over 10 hours.
Okay.
Just because, the heat, the crosswind, just all the elements that you go through. Of course, you guys know from going through the mountains and going up and down. I think that's a big factor in itself.
Well, let me ask you. So you said it's called Liquid IV?
Yes, Amazon.com.
Okay. I was just going to ask you. Okay. So Liquid IV, and what do you buy, like a box of it or something like that? Do you keep it cold? Like,
yeah,
how do you do it?
It comes in packs. So what you do is, like a regular bottle of water, you take it, open it, and let it dissolve in there. Shake it up, and you're good to go.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, it's great for hangovers.
Now, and you said you just did when did you do the Four Corners?
August of 21.
Okay. So for anybody listening, when we say the Four Corners, what we're talking about is a serious cross-country trip. That's where you hit north, south, east, and west, literally the four corners of the United States on your motorcycle. It's you got to take some time out, and for doing something like that, you legitimately have to approach it with, like we're talking about tonight. You got to have your mental right, you have to have your physical right, and you got to have your machine right. So those three things you have to give attention to. But man, I tell you what, Cinnamon, you're all right. I don't care what they said about you. You know, we like you, but. But no,
Thank you.
All right. So look, you done did the Four Corners. So what other little things do you do that nobody knows about that can help somebody if they decide to do like a long ride like that?
One thing that I would do is, I know we always say, I know my route. But one thing that I know that helped me was to also, print it out. Because say, for instance, anything on your bike, electrical goes out. You screwed. So, just little tips along the way that I picked up.
Okay.
I know people, they don't really check their bike as often as we should when we go on a ride.
Yeah.
But that's a major thing. That's definitely a major thing. One last tip, really big tip, I think that, will help somebody if, doing a long ride is something that they want to do. You got to condition your body to do like shorter rides, like, do a 4-hour ride, then do a 6-hour ride, an 8-hour ride, because you can't get on your bike and ride 21 hours if you haven't rode 10 hours.
Okay.
Not going to happen.
No, right on. No, this is good stuff. And I think what happens is a lot of folks, and Cinnamon, thank you very much for that. I think what happens a lot of times is that people, they just, they liken riding on that iron like they do a cage or a car, right? and it's not the same. It's not the same. It's a physical undertaking. And stand by. Let's see who's calling us. Hey, hello, and thank you for calling the Big Bone Yard. You got doggone Big Bone 1%er, Archbishop 1%er, and Uncle Shaggy 1%er. And who in the whole wide world is calling us right now?
I don't know. The line disconnected.
Oh, gee. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, thank you for coming back. But yeah, like I was just babbling about the fact that what's really, we have to approach this with making sure it's not like driving a car, you know, where you can shoot from Florida to New York like nothing, from Missouri to California in a car, and there's not a lot of effort in it. It's not the same thing. It is not the same thing on a bike. You really gotta approach that. You gotta have the correct mindset. One thing for well, I won't even say for older folks. Anybody who has medicine, that's the thing that people often forget. I've seen guys get in a whole other state and they start talking about, oh, my prescription was not available until Thursday, but we left on Wednesday. So now they're in some weird ass other state trying to figure out if they can find a damn CVS to get some medicine that they really, really need. So, and the thing about that is most times, I know most doctors and most pharmacists, if you communicate with them like, hey, I'm getting ready to leave on this date, and I know I'm not supposed to pick up this medicine until a day or two later, I need it early. Make that call. I mean, because especially if it's a thing that you need, do that. Because if not, you know, you might be in trouble when you get out there on the road and start having issues. And especially if your folks don't know, if you're riding with folks and they don't know what the hell is going on, which, by the way, communicate that too. You know, you got to make sure you're checking all those little boxes. You got to do it because it ain't fun.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that just goes with planning the ride. I mean, when I say planning a ride, I don't mean to do it 3 days before you leave. So I just think that goes into a checklist that you need.
I got you. Chemo Luciano said, Archbishop, wait, you say, I mess it up.
What up, dog? What up, dog?
That's that up north shit. I can't get it right.
Yeah.
But nah, that's what's up. So I guess the next thing is, so we're talking about your body and so in general, like, by the way, and we all seen these cats who, you know, they jump on that bike and they're 675 pounds on a Sportster or something crazy like this. I'm not trying to tell anybody to do the Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything like that. But if you're going to be riding a motorcycle for real, it might not hurt. If you're talking about doing it, especially cross, you know, breaking state lines and whatnot, you might want to give your bike a break and your body a break by, you know, trying to shed a few lbs, trying to be a little healthier, because this is, again, it's not for the faint of heart. And you know, being out there, if you carrying an extra 150 200 pounds, then the elements are going to play havoc with you. That's something that you got to consider that stuff, you know. You just got to think about it. I'm just saying, you know, just a thing.
Definitely.
Okay, so a hardcore ground pounding, soft tail riding, 20-inch ape hanger riding. What percent are going to kick in here? This is awful touchy feely. God damn. Check it out.
Yeah, it is.
If you ride your motorcycle like clubbers are supposed to, like what percentage are supposed to, your body should already be one condition. Two, man, you guys are organized and squared away. Checklist this and bananas and, you know, potassium and mustard packs and fucking pickles. And look, it's about the ride. If you're enjoying what you do and you love this lifestyle with what you do, your routine is going to play into your entire ride. How you live at home is going to play into your entire ride. What I pack literally hours before I leave, and I always forget shit. Um, I could have a checklist and would forget it. But the most important thing you could do is hydrate at the gas stations you stop at. Take hydration with you and hydrate during the trip. Um, I don't have a cup holder or anything like that, but I have a place where I can get the water bottle pretty quickly. You know, these gas tanks get anywhere from 160 to 250, 300 miles. I hear guys are getting these days, but stop often. If you feel like you feeling fatigued, stop off. Secondly, if you really want to get your body in shape, take your windshield off and ride for about a month or two without your windshield. Your body will feel so in shape, it's unbelievable. You put the windshield back on there, man, the windshield knocks that wind off. You'll be
That's a good
riding
one.
like crazy. You know, I've been riding for 2.5 years without a windshield. I just finally bought one for the season coming up. It's mainly because my wife's tired of getting, blown all around behind me because, she don't like that open concept that I've gotten used to. But know your motorcycle, man. If you're in a motorcycle club, you better have a relationship with that motorcycle. You better know how it handles, how it feels, how it beats you up, how it treats you, how it's comfort to you, how it's not comfortable to you. I keep hearing all this shit about shoulders. I keep hearing all this shit about wrist and this and that. It tells me your handlebars aren't correct for you. Get your handlebars correct for you. People see my motorcycle, see the 20-inch A-Pages, like, oh my God, this thing's got to be so uncomfortable. You'd be surprised how I could ride all the way across this country and my shoulders, and, my hands go numb a little bit from time to time. But, I don't have cruise control. I don't have a radio. Know your ride, know your motorcycle. Your body should be conditioned. Why? Because you're in a motorcycle club. There is no riding season. There is in some places.
Hey, Shaggy, I'll tell you something. What you're saying, so it's true. I'm going to argue with you about another thing, but about what you're saying right now, here's how true that is. Because I know this is years ago, I went all over the damn country, shout out to Canada and back. Actually, I did it twice on a Yamaha Raider with the 1900 motor in it.
What kind of motor is that, eh?
But anyway, rode up there, did the damn thing. It was all cool. Didn't have no issue, sore ass because of the way the seat was. I swear to God, I actually stopped at Walmart and bought a pillow, a pillow from Walmart and a black pillowcase, wrapped it up, slapped it on my ass, kept piping because that iron butt situation. But anyway, my point about that was no big deal. Now, after that, this is a number of years ago, I started riding my road glide pretty much all the time. Especially if I was doing like, stuff like club related, whatever, I'm on the road glide, right? A lot, state to state, right? That's how I'm getting down. And something came up where I put that bike in the shop to get like, something simple like oil change, tires and all like that. Something came up, had to go. So I went and jumped back on. One time I jumped on the Raider. Another time I jumped on the Switchback. There's a few different bikes in the garage, but I jumped on the Switchback. I thought I was going to die. I jumped on the Raider. I thought someone was trying to kill me. I thought the bike was trying to kill me. I'm like, what in the hell? I rode this motherfucker to Canada. What in the hell? But long story short, I got conditioned to the bike that I was riding all the time. And you don't really think about that, but that's what happens. If you get conditioned with your bike and you get everything set up right, it's going to be a hell of a lot smoother. So what you're saying there is true. But I got to go back to the health thing. I really do think that, and you're right, it's a lot of guys, we all know them, them 300, 400 pound dudes is doing their thing. And you're right. But still, anybody out there riding a motorcycle, I would suggest that you try to get healthy. Whether you're a biker or not, it's good to be healthy, But if you're doing this shit, kind of helps. But anyway, I'll shut up about that. AB, you kind of tapped on a little earlier. You was talking about the mental. What mental preparation do you really need to do, or is there preparation, or is it just like a mindset? Like what's the deal with the whole mental about that? About breaking state lines and whatnot.
No, I was just more talking about the overall mindset. Like you're getting ready for this ride. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more than just jumping on and just taking off. You know what I mean? And then too, it depends on where you're at. You know what I mean? Whether you're riding at night as opposed to during the day. At nighttime you a lot more aware of stuff. You know what I mean? You pay attention to a lot more. Stuff jump out on the road, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I said, you just got to try to focus on what it is that you're doing. What it is you're doing. point A to point B, I don't know about everybody else, but I kind of map it out in my mind to how I'm going. You know what I mean? So where, like especially if it's somewhere that I've been to numerous times, it's certain spots that I see as I'm going down the road, and I know like, okay, I'm 3/4 of the way there. I'm halfway there. I know when I pass this place here, I'm only such amount away. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just different stuff that I do on the road. And some of it may sound goofy as hell, but for me, it works. You know what I mean? It's all a part of me. You know, to acclimate myself to where I'm going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to get my head right.
Just mental conditioning.
Right. I mean, because you know, most of the time when you out there riding, what are you doing? You ain't even. A lot of times
Yeah.
you ain't even thinking about just riding. You thinking about everything else is going on. You know,
Right. Fact.
family life, kids, job. You thinking about a little bit of everything. Even
True.
with the loud music, half the time you just playing that out anyway. You know what I mean? So you just like I said, I try to get them all in tune with each other. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
get my mind right. I got my body right. My bike, I don't rode my bike so much that I know I know exactly what that bike's going to do. You
Okay.
know, if I hear something out the way, I know something's wrong. You know what I mean? If it feels a
Gotcha.
certain
Like
way,
you can actually
right,
hear it in the bike
right,
because you've been on
right,
it so much.
right. Because I don't rode it so much that I know what she gonna do.
Right. Right. By the way,
Man, it has a relationship with his motorcycle. That's
yeah,
exactly
hey,
what it is.
quick question, then I'm going to introduce our next caller. But real quick, like everybody's got like real bikers, we have a tendency to name our motorcycles. Archbishop, what's your bike's name?
Lolita.
Lolita. All right. I actually knew that, but you know. Anyway, Lolita. Hey, Shaggy, what's your bike's name, man?
Can't tell that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I can't tell that.
I I got more than one. I got more than one. But I'll tell you, my main bitch.
That's what you guys do over there, man. You just can't just take one. You got to have all of them, like all these responsibilities.
Yo, I'll tell
They
you what.
can't maintain a single one of them.
My main bitch, her name is Anubis, and that's the Road Glide. The
See,
Road Glide
that's the
is
one that wants to
named
break
Anubis.
down with you all the time. How you refer to her, you don't even talk nice to her. Call her a bitch,
No.
shit like that.
She's good. She's good. Wait, hold on. Let me look on my show. That's my bottom bitch. You know, she got the look with a 103. With a 103. In the meantime, we have a caller that just called in. Hey, caller, you're on the line. You're on Big Bone Yard with Big Bone 1%er, Archbishop 1%er, and Shaggy 1%er. Who is this?
What's going on, guys? This is Foxy
Oh,
with the Pro Convention. Looking forward to really getting this education out even further. But it's a pleasure to be with you guys. I have a few moments, and I did want to chime in on what Shaggy was talking about relative to getting people road ready. You know, when you've been ground pounded for so long, and maybe Shaggy, you don't get to see it as often as we do. There's something called hereditary diseases that the Black community seems to be plagued by. So a lot of times we end up with hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, and we don't really quite understand how all of these things intertwine when we're out on that road. Having gone back and forth cross country, Black Girls Ride, we do a lot of rides, getting a lot of women road ready for these long rides. And we see not only women, but men also falling out. So that's probably what you're seeing in the commentary relative to some things that people have found over the years to work for them while they're out on the road. The objective is you do want to get back home safe, the same way you left home. But when you look at getting road ready, there's an element called finances that you need to incorporate into this as well. You don't wake up on a Saturday and say you're going to ride cross country. Now, you guys that are in dominant clubs, 1% clubs,
we do.
It very well may be financially, you may be taken care of. For those that are not, that are in other clubs,
yeah.
If their bike breaks down, depending on how they're traveling, because if you're going high elevation and you got motor work and you don't realize how elevation plays into that motor work, you may find that you got major engine problems. We've seen people take those trips. They don't plan properly, don't really look at the route that they're taking, get that motor work done, and hit those Dakotas, Colorado, Idaho, and now they're in the shop being told they need a whole new bike because they just blew their engine.
Okay.
That's called financial.
Okay. So that's one
so
element.
along with your mind, your body, and
preparation, make sure your finances in order. If you're doing a long trip, also plan your maintenance ahead so that it's not a last minute thing. And now when you pull it into the shop, you get hit with the higher prices because they know that you need your bike back on the road. Try to go ahead and plan that in advance because you should already know your route. So always know where you could potentially go if you have to have a service issue.
Okay, so that's a good. That's a good. So what we were really looking at was we were talking about your body, your mind, and the machine, but finances. Lord knows that absolutely, because this stuff ain't free. So that's a super good point. By the way, Prophet pointed out. Y'all know Prophet. Prophet was saying bananas. Learn to eat bananas, and I think
Yes, sir.
that's got to be what is that? A potassium thing, right?
They taught us that in the military.
Yeah, that's your potassium punch.
Yeah,
that's definitely your potassium punch.
I always drop the ball on that. I used to, no kidding. This is way back in the when I was in the Marine Corps. They actually had a pill that was a potassium pill, and I used to take it because I was horrible about doing the vegetables, no problem, but the fruits I was real bad on that. Specifically bananas because I never really liked them. But my corpsman used to always keep those when we was out and about, especially like in the desert and stuff like that. He gave me these pills, but that's what it was for. And I never understood why that was so important, but he was adamant about it. Like, here, eat this, take that.
There's one thing I want to kind of chime in here on some of the things she said. She hit some very good points, with the money and stuff like that. Yeah, this shit ain't free. Oh, it's expensive. And when it comes to engine work and stuff like that, I can't tell you how many times I've worked on somebody's bike and they said they're going to go on a trip, and I tell them, look, you need to get a tuner or you need to carry some jets with you, especially going to hit the higher and low elevation stuff like that. But that's all very important. But a lot of what she just said about the black side having some of the medical things, the hereditary stuff like that, understand it very well. Believe it or not, a lot of us that are half this and half that and half this, we're all mutts here in the United States. I don't think anybody's pure anymore. But you got to know your body. But the point you're making about the riding and stuff like that, prepare yourself. I'm going to hit on a topic real quick, and I mean it's the gut punch about this lifestyle. One, it ain't for everybody. Two, in order to be a part of this lifestyle, there's some very, very strong and very powerful strengths you must have internally. The will to ride, the want to ride, the hoorah, the hoorah of it all. And then finally, especially with the clubbers, I don't do real well reaching out to the motorcycle enthusiasts or the bikers or the civilians or the rubs or whatever all these people got. But if you're wearing that MC and you're wearing those patches and you're flying colors and stuff like that, you learn a lot of that, or should be learning a lot of that longevity, a lot of that. It's kind of like in the military when you first start running for the first time, 3 days a week, mile and a half, 5 miles, whatever. You got to build that stamina up, right? Under prospecting and hanging around, you should be building that stamina up because when the boss says, "Hey, let's go," I'm not going to ask you how far have you ever ridden in your life. You should have already been asked those questions. It's going to be, we're getting on here. We got 6, 8 states to roll, or we got 10 states to roll, or we got 30 miles to roll. It's all part of that esprit de corps of the rites of passage and learning your ways to go. I think it's a great topic of what we're talking about. These things are always hindsight for me when I come back from a trip going, should have done that. Yep, should have done that. Should have had that road soda.
Yeah.
Probably should have drank that, or probably should have smoked that. Probably should have did that or did that. But you know what? It's all part of the trip. Most of all, if you don't know your body, I mean, you should know your motorcycle and your body. Everything else will come into place. Those are things when you come to this lifestyle. If you don't already know, we can't teach you because you'd always take a horse to the trough. You can't make him drink, right?
Yeah,
I could tell prospects all day long. Take your motorcycle out. These are 6 safety things you need to make sure they're on there. Hey, make sure that you're riding every day to condition yourself because we're going to be hitting some long nationals. make sure you take care of your finances. Make sure because I can't pay for both of us,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
the chapter ain't gonna pay for it. I mean, unless it's just downright got to. But these are the important things uh, should be going on when you come into this lifestyle. Hanging around prospect and shit like that should be conditioning you for being a member. Which is
Yeah.
at any given time that 911 goes out, or somebody's passed away, or somebody's there's a party going on. All that's part of that conditioning prior to getting to the level that we're at here, where hey, at any given moment, the three of us can get a phone call, and if it's being a blacked out SUV or be on a motorcycle, you know, it's 19 hours nonstop till we get there.
No, I think you know what, and that's the thing. I think what happens and I'm speaking about novice or people that are new to this lifestyle or any of that, is a whole lot of stuff that they might not really appreciate on day one. Don't get me wrong, they're gonna learn. You're definitely gonna learn. And the goal of this thing is to help some folks kind of miss some of the drama. So hey, take it from us so you don't have to go through all of that extra stuff. Hey, give us about 30 seconds, folks. We're gonna go ahead and what's that expression? We're gonna get a word from our sponsor. That always sounds funny when I say that. But anyway,
Commercial break.
hey, I'll tell you what, give me a second. We're going to go ahead and do a quick word from our sponsor. We'll be right back.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we
have
solve that
commercial breaks
problem
now
for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
And we're right back. See, that was like magic. But yeah, but no, I
So
think
Big Bone,
yes, sir.
one of the things I want to kind of put myself out there on is this conditioning, right? So when I joined the club 22 years ago, I was riding with some guys
Yeah,
20, 25 years older than me. These guys were hitting the pavement hard.
yeah,
They had
yeah,
Evos, and I think one guy had a twin cam, and one guy had a panhead, and another guy had a shovel. Well, all of them, I had a 4-speed 1973 kick only rigid iron head. All
yeah,
right, top speed maybe 70, 75 mile an hour, maybe.
yeah,
Um,
yep, yep,
and I had literally had ridden since a teenager. Now I'm 22, 23 years old, and I get on this motorcycle and just basically figured out the basics of what I remember as a kid. And now I'm a prospect riding these packs.
yeah,
Um, there were times where I had that bike, literally, I have got the throttle pulled as far as it could go, reached over, grabbed some more throttle, pulled it back just to be able to see the back of the pack. And the bike is doing the vibration thing the whole way, right? No windshield. It's a
right.
rigid. I might have been young,
They
but
hated you. They
it,
hate you.
it, it well, it beat the living shit out of me and
Yeah,
wore me out like 250 miles. You would have thought I'd run a thousand.
right.
Um, but by the end of prospecting, riding 1,000 miles on that bike, I might have got off in pissed blood, but I made it. And I was still, awake.
So I sound like a dick when I say this, but the thing is, I hope if any prospects out there don't listen to this, because guess what? Prospecting is supposed to be hard. It's not supposed to be easy, So I actually like it when I hear prospects telling me horror stories about what happened to them during that year or 2 years or however long it was, right? Let me throw this out here real quick. Pastor Troy said, which is a good thing. Pastor, everybody take some time to smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed before, definitely do that and definitely share this with everybody you know. And Prophet, who is definitely dropping some knowledge on us tonight, says the most important item I have on my bike for any ride is a tourniquet. So we didn't even get into that. Like, what if somebody gets busted up? So I'll take it a little step further. And I think we may have talked about this before, but somebody needs to carry a first aid kit. Tourniquet is super important. And Foxy was saying zip ties. So a tourniquet, zip ties, a first aid kit. These are the sort of things, nobody wants to leave hoping to get in some kind of an accident or fall down and go boom or whatever. But God forbid you do, you want to have some ability to reduce really to reduce the damage, or to at least maintain yourself. Some basic first aid type stuff, because depending on where you are, it might take a minute for somebody to get to you. So if you can, especially if you're riding with somebody, everybody needs to have that stuff, and let somebody other than yourself know where that stuff is so they can get it. Because if you're the one, God forbid, that goes down, you might not be able to talk so good. Somebody else might need to know where that stuff is. Just, we're getting definitely some good information out here tonight.
Well, you did
Big
that
C
too,
said,
Bo.
oh, go ahead.
You was talking about those potassium tablets.
Yeah.
You can also get those salt tablets as well.
Yeah, facts.
Also play, I mean, them salt tablets is great to have. But I'm gonna tell you something else. On top of the first aid kit,
Yeah.
Some people carry them. A lot of people don't. They do not have tools in their bag. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you got everything else in there, but don't have not one tool, not one ratchet, not one wrench, no nothing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Get you a little small toolbox, you know what I mean, little kit.
Yeah.
Keep that shit in there. I mean, because if you work on your bike, even if you're going through your maintenance, checking out, like what Shaggy was talking about earlier, the 6 things that you check on your bike before you take off.
Yeah.
You know what sizes you need.
Right.
So
right.
make sure you got all the sizes to what you need on your bike. You keep them in a little bag or something, throw you a ratchet in there, a couple of wrenches that you know that you're gonna need. Keep that on the bag.
Nah, facts, because you know what happens is, like, every time, and for those of y'all that have been doing this for a little bit, especially on the clubber side, I swear it seems like every freaking time you go out of state, somebody is gonna break down, and then they're looking around like, "Where's Shaggy? Where's Shaggy?" Right? Am I lying? They're like, "Where's Shaggy?"
That is exactly what happens.
Right?
I got the tools, I got the knowledge, I probably got a part or two, and I spend my trip fixing everybody's shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. It always happens. But, like, what if Shaggy ain't there? Yeah, exactly. AB, that's the gospel. That's one of them what we call gems that he just dropped. Big C said, I started a military style backpack. He says Black Hawk prospect bag. Built on it as new needs came up. I didn't think of canteen bag on it, but it's basically medical to Matchbox cars. Then let's see here. Yippin' Yay Hoy. One knee dragger says, "That's right, Shaggy. Embrace the suck." So we got some folks saying some stuff. Mikey Jones says, "Salute Bone, Art, Shaggy. I watched some today, but but all in the morning. Keep up the good word. Okay, appreciate it. And Austin Turnbull says, I've never had a bike with a windshield. LOL. Okay. Well, hey, well, he's about condition. One last or not last one, another comment right quick from Soldier from Hard Knocks. He's saying your mindset definitely has to be right. So staying vigilant and in the zone to keep your mind off the long trip, long hours, ass hurting, etc. And that's part of the deal. That's part of the deal. I mean, that stuff comes up all the time. So I guess we hit on a few good subjects. So there's your physical, there's your mental, there's the bike, and then what did she say? And then the financial.
Monetary.
Yeah, the monetary. And I think
but then
all of those things
story
build on.
time.
So what?
It's story time.
Story time.
It's absolutely story time.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
we're gonna
I'm
talk
ready.
about this. So Archbishop hit on it, hey, the tools, the this, the that, first off, if you're in them baggers and you got them little bitty tour packs, it looks cool, but you're retarded. Get rid of that damn thing. Put you a tour pack on it where you carry something. Oh, by the way, your saddlebags are for carrying your shit, not your prospects carrying your shit and everybody else carrying your shit because you got 12-inch speakers in your bags. Yes, I work on a lot of bikes like this. Secondly, I love that we're talking about this because yeah, nobody carries tools now because bikes are a lot more reliable. They don't leak. They don't break down as much. Breakdowns are very, very rare. Uh, but let me tell you a story about back in the day. Okay, back in the day we had all junk. Most of us was poor. Um, we were just learning, this science called motorcycle clubbing. And one thing I always learned from the military is I carried plenty of underwear and plenty of socks. Shirt, not so much. Pants, not so much. If I could strap on two pairs of boots, I would because as a prospect and even as a brother, sometimes you always show up in the shittiest of conditions, which is about 2 feet of mud and it's always raining. But I carried more parts, more tools, more oil, back in the day in leather flimsy saddlebags. And, a very well known one percenter told me one time the death of brotherhood was the evolution motor because that evolution motor didn't break down as much. It was reliable as a tank, right? I was on a wired head. I was around guys with shovel heads, shit like that. And we'd break down, and there was many times we would break down, typically about 10 miles outside of town. We'd break down and we'd be walking up and down the side of the road. You would be surprised at what the shoulders used to supply you. Now
Yeah.
they keep them clean. You can't hardly find shit on the side of the road. No nuts or bolts, washers,
Uh-huh.
coat hanger, what have you. I can't tell you, I had a brother's carburetor fall off his motorcycle in the Chicago tollway coming on 94 coming into Wisconsin. It was the greatest shit ever because he just ridden this shovel head from Wisconsin, and the only breakdown is we're going through the toll booth. So there's 25 of us, and then the Illinois State Patrol starts showing up because they're trying to figure out why all these bikers are in the toll booth walking up and down looking for something we can do to, wire tie that thing back on. But back in the day, we didn't carry a whole lot of clothes with us. We didn't carry a whole lot of something to drink or something to eat. We carried parts. We carried, I had points and flyweights, so I carried a bunch of springs for the flyweights in my pocket.
Wait,
I
you talking
carried
about
duct tape.
flyweights like for fishing?
No, like for your points, like your
Oh,
timing,
okay,
your
okay,
forward,
right,
your
okay.
advance, and the nose cone. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. Um, you know, we carried lots of 50 and 60 weight, lots of 90 weight.
Mhm.
We carried Allen wrenches. We carried, everything from a 3/8 all the way up to, a 1 inch. We carried crescent wrenches, screwdrivers, flathead and star tip. You carried razor blades with you. You carried wiring with you. I mean, it was crazy. You carried whatever extra parts, especially the old bikes, carry you extra, you know, voltage regulator. You carried yourself an extra generator.
Mhm.
It had no fancy stators and shit like that back then.
Yeah. Yep.
You carried extra points, plugs, sometimes wires, an extra coil.
Wow.
That
Oh,
shit all
damn.
takes up space.
How
You know,
much? Where could you put all of this stuff? Because that's a lot of stuff.
you have to be very creative with getting it in there. Plus, about 10 pairs of socks, about 10 pair of underwear, and an extra pair of boots.
Yeah. I'll tell you. So my thing was, along with carrying whatever else they told me to carry, um, they promised me damn near death if I didn't have this one particular brother was duct tape. If I don't give a damn
Snitch,
if it was,
we call it snitch
you know,
lipstick.
duct tape. Say what you call it? What?
Snitch lipstick.
Yeah, apparently, but I had to have it all the time. And look, here's the funny thing: we used it all the time. Destruction Nation says Uncle Archbishop with the I don't even know what you call that emoji with the arm like this, that thing. So that's Uncle
Flexing.
Archbishop from
And that's
Destruction
people
Nation.
that have muscles. You don't know nothing about that.
I just look. I'm slow. I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be cool. Austin said he's never crossed state lines, and the biggest reason is financial reasons. And then Big C says, Big C, what did Big C say? Big C says, always get as many as I can go to put a bike on my lift and go through it, and nut and bolt. before any long trips. Take off parts for free on my shelves. So okay, that's how you're getting down. Somebody from Facebook says, make sure if you're riding alone, someone knows your route. Have had several people come up missing along a trip to be found deceased a week or more later. Damn. All right, I'm sorry to hear that. That ain't no fun. I mean, I've heard of that happening before, but I haven't heard, it happens. I'm sorry to hear that. So I guess that's something to be concerned with. Phoenix says, in one of my bags, where'd it go? In one of my bags, I keep a first aid kit, tools, portable air pump, and a jumper. Okay, that's being squared away. And half a roll of toilet paper. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Half a roll of toilet paper.
Tearing off your shirt sleeve.
Look on the toilet paper tip. You do
The
understand
Marine Corps thing, they give him one little
the little
tab, right?
thing. Yeah,
That's to wipe his finger off.
Right.
Careful with the finger. We're very careful with the finger.
Sure you are.
Look, that's a fact, though. Look, if by the way, if you got to use that toilet paper, that means you could not wait to get to that next exit, and that means that anywhere from 5 to 60 individuals was pissed off at you because you had to stop. But anyway, yeah. So Arch, let me ask you this. So on the last state to state joint that you did, what was, as far as like in your opinion, what was probably the number one most important thing that you knew about or you experienced? I'll phrase it that way. The thing that you experienced that made you think, damn, next time I'm going to make sure I do this, or I'm glad as hell that I did this thing or had that thing. What was that?
You know what? I'll keep it 100. I had a serious hydration problem coming back.
Yeah.
Back in the summer. And I'm gonna tell you, we got to Atlanta, Georgia. It was hot, naturally, but what happened was that we got stuck in traffic, and it started raining. So you know how Atlanta traffic is. You just sit there,
Yep.
just sat
Yep.
still. It started raining, but it rained for like 5 minutes, and the sun came back up, and you could see the steam coming up off that pavement. And it was like, it didn't matter what I was drinking. It was coming right out. I mean, and we got we got close to the end of Georgia over by what's that, Valdosta?
Valdosta.
Yeah. Man, we got there, man. I thought I was about to pass out.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to pull over. I mean, I was sitting there, I was splashing water in my face.
You wasn't even in Florida yet. Almost.
Right. I'm seeing light and dark spots. I mean, I'm seeing everything. And I literally had a big old bottle of water sitting right there, and I'm sitting there chugging. I just could not get enough in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was every stop that we was doing, I was chugging Gatorades and vitamin water and everything. I just could not stay hydrated for nothing. So now was that one of them that I actually went through and drunk all the water and stuff before? No, I didn't.
Right.
And I went off my normal routine, and I paid for it.
Okay. So your word on that one is next time the hydration.
Next time I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna stick to my guns and do what I normally do, and make sure that I got the proper hydration, the B12 and the stuff that I needed to make sure that I was good. Because I'm telling you what, when I'm out there on that road, I'm telling you, for all these years I've been out there that road, I've never had that feeling where I felt like I was really about to pass out, and I was sitting very confident.
Yeah.
It was just tremendous.
Man, and the situation you're talking about, I've had happen to me several times, dude. You get that, that summertime rain. It lasts 5 minutes, drenches your ass, drenches everything on your motorcycle. The sun pops up, the humidity goes through the roof, the steam, the whole 9 yards. There is no way to ever prepare for that. I mean, it takes miserable to the whole next level. I mean, it that is the one instance that just absolutely just drains the living shit out of you, no matter what you do. It's that you go from you're hot, then all of a sudden you get cooled off from that, and it's almost immediate too. As soon as that sun pops out and that rain stops, boom. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, all them southern Tennessee, all them southern states, Arkansas, they all bad about that 5 minute rain,
Oh
and then that
man.
stifling, 110 degree, you know, weather, and then you add another 100% humidity. Yeah, it's a bad day.
Stop talking about Florida, man. Why are you doing that? But no, look, that's true though, because so like my takeaway, well, not takeaway, but the thing is it keeps happening, and it's gonna happen as long as I'm on two wheels. I imagine everybody knows about this. You leave, you check the weather, man, it looks great where you are, but you're going somewhere else. And you get there and the skies open up and the temperature drops 15, 20 degrees. And now you're wet and cold and it just gets nasty. And then the sun goes down and it gets colder and you're wet and you're cold and all like that. So my thing is in regard to the preparing for the ride thing. And this, look, this is coming from a dude who's been in Florida for a long time. I keep a cold weather bag all the time, just in case. Because see, Florida, what we think is cold and what the rest of the planet think is cold, two different things. But if I'm leaving Florida, oh, you best better believe I'm gonna have like some polar bear type equipment, because I do not fuck around with the cold weather, because that's gonna tear my ass up. I know it. And if I need to keep going, I gotta get right. I'm gonna layer up. I'm gonna have a jacket and a leather this and some friggin' doggone some chaps and a jacket and another jacket and a coat and all of that. I don't play around with that cold weather. The hydration hadn't beat me up too bad, but I had a couple of close calls. But yeah, y'all folks out there, man. Duster. Oh, come on now. Look, for us, that's doggone Prophet is saying my duster is very important. It's not for fashion. It's a functional piece of equipment. And that's something that a lot of us actually keep. It's not because some folks, look at them, they're scary looking. Ooh, no, that duster is because the same way them dudes used to do it back in the 1800s and whatnot in the old West, they had a duster for a reason. That is like Prophet just said, it is a functional piece of equipment that changes the situation. It's a game changer. If you got to go from state to state or shit, even town to town, when the weather wants to get funky on you, guess what? That duster is your best friend. It's one of your friends for sure. But fellas, man, this has been good, man. I think I'd like to think that some folks got something out of this, because so for those of us like down here, like for those of us that are in the South, we got 12 months of summer, and it gets a little cool sometimes, right? But so our ride in Florida is different if we're not leaving the state. It varies a little bit. But when you start breaking state lines, it's a different situation, man. So if you are in one of those places, like we don't even have a riding season, right? A lot of folks do. So if you have a riding season, or if you're planning when it is, hey, it's riding season, let me go ahead and shoot to California. If you're on the East Coast, or if you're in California, let me shoot to North Carolina. Guess what? Cross the T's, dot the I's, kind of get right. You know what I mean? It would be cool if everybody get out there, pound the ground, and get back where you came from, without being dead. And that's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
before I came down here, I lived in Ohio.
Right.
And
Yep.
Maggie know this for being fact. Your riding season was only from, probably the end of April, beginning of May to like October. After then, you ain't out there riding no more. I mean, I remember one time we rode from came down south, and down here it was like 85 degrees. And we got back and hit the Ohio line towards Cincinnati, Ohio. It was an inch of snow on the ground that we ride, and we still got another 2 hours before we get home, and
Yeah.
it's snowing like hell out. You know what I mean? So, but that just tells you though, just that little, that change of climate. You know what I mean? And then as you're going, of course, when you ride in the mountains is a lot cooler than you are if you ride on the flat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to prepare for those temperature fluctuations, and also you gotta, like I said, you didn't look, but you gotta look ahead what you about to ride into. It ain't
Oh
always
yeah.
about,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know, where you started from, but you gotta see what it's like on the other side where you're supposed to be going to, what it's looking like over there, and what you're gonna run into along the way.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, another thing
Um,
we like to follow too is, once they start throwing that salt on the ground and shit like that, salt is
yeah.
the world's worst thing to a motorcycle or any vehicle as it is. But
Hmm.
a lot of guys, man, it's time they throw the salt down to the very first good rain, good couple rains anyway, wash that shit off the road. But hey, just ride. I ride like it's 40 some degrees outside. That's my kind of weather to ride in. You know, uh, the coldest I've ridden is probably about 18, 17, 18 degrees, and I don't recommend it. I was young when I did it. I won't do it now.
That part.
Um, gotta have your limit and stick with it, man.
Yeah.
Usually below 32, I'm not doing it. If you ever get a chance, Google the wind chart for wind on a motorcycle, and you'll figure out real quick. At 32 degrees, it's like negative. I think it's like -2 or -20 degrees, something like that,
Yep.
with the wind chill on you. So
Oh
you got to
yeah.
dress for that shit.
Oh yeah. I was in Minot, North Dakota, up there with with Pac a couple of times. Last year, October, I'm up there, and I flew in and like, hey, don't worry, we got a bike for you and everything. So I get up there and he called me on the phone and said, where are you? I said, I'm at baggage claim, getting my bags. I said, where are you? He said, look behind you. It's a small airport. I didn't realize how small the airport was. He said, look behind you. I look behind, I see some motorcycles out front. We got a bike for you and everything. I go to the little doors that, they open up like that. The doors open up and I felt this cold gust of wind. And I said, oh, they must have like some compressed or pushed air because that's why I'm feeling this cold weather. And I took 2 steps and it dropped like 50 fucking degrees. And I'm like, what the hell? And Pac walked up, hey, we dap it up in that whole thing. And he goes to give me some keys to a motorcycle. I stepped away like he was like the damn devil. Like, the hell are you trying to give me? He goes, oh, do you want to, motherfucker, show me a car. Show me a car where I can be in and be warm and blah, 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 right? So, and these cats, and I'm looking, my brain is confused because I'm looking at these dudes in North Dakota in October, and they got on, like some, long sleeve shirts, light jacket. And I looked at the phone to double check. It's like 30 degrees. I'm like, the fuck am I seeing right here? But them big polar bear motherfuckers are used to that shit. So I'm like, hey, y'all can have that. Went back in July. It was all good. Then, yeah, they had a bike, pounded the ground out of the damn Great Plains or Prairie or whatever the hell they call it out there. Had a great time. But yeah, they're conditioned to that weird shit. I can't fuck with it. But yo, I'll throw this out there too. In regard to like the whole weather thing, or what Dibber said was our riding season starts the 1st of January and goes until the 31st of December. But see, he's in the UK, and we don't know if he's telling the truth or not. But that's what Dibber says. Dibber says they just ride anyway. But
Oh, never ride year round.
yeah. He's saying that's how he gets down. Austin says, I won't touch the bike if it's 25 or colder. Other than that, I'm riding. But yeah, that's what's up. But fellas,
But not out of state.
say what?
But not out of state.
Yeah, well, that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. He's putting it out like that. But I tell you what, fellas. So this has been, I think, a great topic. I hope some folks got some good stuff out of this. We've been at it for about an hour and 10 minutes, and really, this is the kind of thing. If you're listening to what we're talking about, definitely do this stuff. Like, be prepared to go ahead and do your ride. Now, if you're in a club, just do what the hell they tell you to do. But so riding, and look, don't forget to actually enjoy yourself while you're doing these rides. You do it the right way, you're going to have a hell of a good time. You're going to come back, God willing, in one piece with some fantastic stories from the road, because that's what all of this shit is about. All of this shit is about getting on your motorcycle, pounding the ground, fucking with your bros, and coming back to share them stories. It's what we do, like, we love it. If you got a minute, If you haven't done it already, hit the like button. You know, we definitely appreciate that. Hit the like button, share this thing with some folks, and let some folks know if you heard something that made sense to you tonight. You know, definitely share it with some folks. But Archbishop, what if anything you have to say about this shit, sir?
Well, about the only thing I could say is that, you know, what I mean, over top of getting yourself together, you know, mentally, physically, make sure your bike is okay. The main thing is, you know, when you're doing a ride like that, it's funny because a lot of sometimes on the road gets rid of a lot of problems. The road takes care of a lot of stupid issues that you have, like in your chapter, stuff like that, because you tend to form bonds with people that you normally didn't mess with. You know what I mean? When you're out there on the road, you all out there doing the exact same thing. So you out there riding and you doing, you know what I mean, you out there doing stupid shit and just enjoying the ride and you enjoyed each other or whatever. And that's where that brotherhood starts building that.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't build brotherhood in a clubhouse. I mean, you build it out there on these roads with your bros.
Facts.
Going through whatever situation that you're going through, because you know at that particular time when there's something that's going that you're going through it together,
Yeah.
which builds those bonds and that strength that you need in your chapter. So just remember, it's more about what you prepare for and what you get out of it in return. So
Yeah, you know, some of the gray beards, you know, some of these old cats, I've heard it a time or two. And what they say is bonds of brotherhood are built on the road. And so, and you're echoing the same thing. Bonds of brotherhood are built on the road. So y'all get out there and, you know, this motorcycle shit, it's not on Facebook and on YouTube. I mean, we talk about it so we can point folks in the right direction and, you know, make sure you're squared away and you know how you need to do, you know, how you can stay in your lane on the set. But guess what? You know, we do this on Sunday. You got 6.5 other days to get out there, 6 3/4, whatever, other days to get out there and pound the ground. Enjoy this shit. Shaggy, what say you, sir?
Well, doing these long trips and pounding the pavement for state after state after state, it's going to separate the clubbers from the motorcycle enthusiasts. You know, we do these in these clubs, these long rides because we enjoy them. We do it because of the brotherhood and those bonds that are built out on the road. Um, you should be conditioned or in the midst of being conditioning through prospecting and hanging out. If you're a motorcycle enthusiast doing this, man, ride your ride. Do what you got to do. I'm not going to reiterate everything everybody else said here about how to check your motorcycle and stuff like that. You can do a whole show. I could do a whole show on the mechanics of a motorcycle.
Yeah,
you know, and things to check. Just the checklist of the 6 things that you should always make sure is right. But you know,
what? By the
we
way,
have
what are
tradition.
those things? Just what are those 6 things?
The 6 things. Well,
Yeah,
make sure your tires are good, your brakes are good, your bearings are good. Those 3 things right there keep that motorcycle upright and moving forward. Right. Make sure your handlebars are tightened. Number 5, 4. Number 4.
4.
You want to make sure your seat is correct. Okay, because you know if your seat's not secured to the motorcycle properly, it's going to move around on you, especially when you hit bumps and stuff like that. You want to make sure your suspension's set to where you need it to be. That's to be what, number 5. And number 6, the nut behind the wheel, as they say on the biking lifestyle. You
Right.
know, make sure you're right. You know,
Right.
that road is going to get your brain correct. Trust me, it's corrected mine so many times, it's unreal. You know, get out there and ride your ride. Do your thing. If you're in a club, be prepared to ride, you know, from gas stop to gas stop. You know, that could be 150 miles, 200 miles. It could be, you know, there's been times where I'm like, oh boy, I'm pull up to the pump, and that thing goes boom, 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 and that was it, man. That was the last drop of gas. Um, you know, enjoy yourself. You know,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go do these state to state, even if it's business state to state, enjoy yourself, man. Or why are you doing this?
Yep.
I mean, it just makes no sense. And uh, that relationship you have with your motorcycle, you take care of it, it will take care of you. If you don't take care of it, it'll kill you. Remember that.
That fact, none but the gospel, none but the gospel. And you actually brought up one thing. I'll throw this out there real quick. Not everybody does it, but if somebody can bring a small gas can, sometimes that'll help out. Might get you to that next gas stop. Sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. Some folks love it, some people hate it. Yeah, something to think about. But anyway, I'm going to shut the hell up. And man, we just want to say thank you all to everybody that took time out to stop in and hang out with us tonight. I hope you got something out of, if you joined us late, go back and watch this from the beginning. It's probably some good stuff that we talked about tonight. If you're riding your motorcycle, you actually do want to hear the shit that we're talking about. We're going to be doing, hopefully throughout the week, we're going to be throwing out some different information over the course of the week. But also, if you get a chance, check out Facebook. There's the Big Boneyard Facebook group. Jump on there. We'll be chopping up about a couple of little things over there in a little bit. But we just appreciate the hell out of y'all, man. So in the meantime, look, good looking. We love the fact that y'all joined us tonight. And other than that, we're going to get the hell up out of here. Fellas, say good night.
Good night.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.